little Team House stream going on. And No EarthSpirit, the Americans. Ben, you're probably the one who's actually versed these teams, played against but known the most. What can we expect from this matchup?
Well, Dota 2 Lounge has 60-40 in favor of CNB. I actually think it's a little bit closer to 50-50. No EarthSpirit, they had a lot of stand-ins during their time during Summit America, Summit NA, whatever you want to call it. And
yes.
Relic was the player that was out the most, and I think the mid player is probably one of the most integral to the team in terms of
10 seconds
getting used to the playstyle, because he's usually the tempo controller and you know how to play, how aggressive to play, how much to farm and whatnot. And I think having Relic actually, I don't know if they have to play, I don't know what the exact rules are for TI4 and stand-ins, but I think he's really important to the team, and I think they have a pretty good shot at actually making top 4 in the playoffs. I think for one of my
10 seconds remaining.
Standout.
Could be a dark horse team, basically. Wildcard horse team. As for CNB, they crushed their first match against top 5. We didn't get to see that too much. That was over on the lounge stream.
Yep.
I heard Fury. I went in there and talked to Fury. I was talking to Fury, like, people were saying, oh, there wasn't much analysis. And Fury was like, well, it was a stomp. It was over in like 10 minutes.
Right.
So it was a completely one-sided stomp. So that's good news for CNB, a team who didn't get really much attention, or we didn't really talk about them much coming into the qualifier, but they're the top Brazilian team, and they're definitely a team capable of some upsets.
The only Brazilian team.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, they're the top Brazilian team, like, as in that's why they're in the qualifier.
Right.
Not why, but they're.
I thought you said top Brazilian team.
No, they are the best
qualifiers.
They're the best Brazilian team, and they're in the qualifiers. Two separate facts.
Right.
Is ping much of a factor going into this one? Brazilians versus.
Malt had some info about it, but I don't really know.
Malt said
we can check it out in the game.
He just said that they've been working. They've actually been working with Valve.
Yeah, just open console.
My console.
Oh, we'll do it over on the Observer PC once we.
Brazil gets really bad ping to US East apparently, but their CNB were working directly, like, from their team house with Valve to improve their pings, to optimize their route. So Valve were actually working directly with them to try to give them a true fair chance at the qualifiers, which is awesome to hear.
Yeah,
they could have just flown a boot camp.
Yeah, you have to get visas. That's probably the big headache there.
Yeah. But the matches like this are the ones that are really going to give you your surprise teams. I mean, it seems obvious to say, but the truth is, it's like these matches that are not going to be getting nearly as much pub as, say, an AR versus Team Liquid or whatever. This is where a lot of the work gets done for these Tier 2 teams that are looking to just try to crack out of the group stage. Like, you have to win these matches that are toss-ups. You have to win all of them if you really want to have a shot, assuming that it's going to be chalk down the line and you're going to lose matches against more established teams. So, so any team that's actually being viewed as a dark horse has been said. These matches are extremely important because you can't lose focus. You can't start looking ahead and go, well, our next match is our big one because we take on TL, and if we get a win there, it's big. Well, a win's a win. One's one. Yeah. Beating one of these lower tier teams or more equal skill teams is just as important as beating a team that's even better. May not get you as much star power, may not get as many viewers, but they have to be on their game. And like you said, it is kind of a grind. It is just something where you can't lose focus.
And something you often see is a team will, like, one of these dark horse seasons may upset a team like TL, but then they lose to the other team. So they beat TL, but they don't even finish in the top 4, make the playoffs.
Exactly.
So I agree. These matches are just as important. And if you're going to make it to the top 4, you have to win these matches against TL. You can't look at it and like, oh, we just got to beat TL. I think you can't look at it that way.
Right.
But guys, we're about to get ourselves into the draft. Before we do, just want to let you know there's 4 streams going on here from the NA Hub. We've got the upstairs studio going on, which is Sunsfan and Syndra. They're going to be casting North American Rejects up against Isurus versus Sneaking Nyx Assassins. Over on the High Ground TV stream, we've got Top 5 versus eHug, and then finally on our lounge stream we have got Shadows of the Past versus the North American Rejects. So if you want to check out those streams, there's a multi-Twitch link you can find, or twitch.tv/team/TI4NA. But guys, we're going to get ourselves in the draft. We're live now with our next match of today. It's going to be CNB versus No EarthSpirit. Esse, Merlini, take it away.
The crowd goes wild. We need a audience clapping thingy.
All right, moving on into the draft. We can see we're about halfway done. Second band phase currently underway. Tree and Bat, banned out by No EarthSpirit, along with the Darkseer, Sand King, Lycan, Bane, and Enchantress, all taken out on the side of CNB. Now, you obviously have a lot more familiarity with these teams than I do.
Oh, I know these guys. I know these
Well, what's the scouting report, man? Give me the ones and the twos.
They will dump bricks mid on the TA. They will farm them up a lot, and then they will do Roshan. That's
the game plan every time.
He parks mid a lot. He doesn't gank against TA, and TA in 6.78 was one of your best tempo controllers because she just, anytime she gets a haste, a DD, she just instantly gets a kill in one of the side lanes. But that doesn't really happen that much anymore.
Right.
And usually TAs are actually tower pressures, which you don't really see, but they're actually pretty good at pushing towers with refraction. And if they get a good rune, they'll usually sit and either TP gank or TP counter gank as opposed to actually walk to the lane. And they have very good rune control with Sonic Trap and very good defensive capability with Meld, Sonic Traps, and Refraction. So Tape, very difficult to kill, very good matchup versus Invoker, and it's unusual to see teams pick it up in the first phase, but they know what they want. They're on Dire. Why not?
Yeah, I'm 100% there with you. I mean, just looking at the front four we have so far, Mirana, TA, as you mentioned, his play style may be more of a park kind of a mid lane style, but still very aggressive, like you said, especially if you're able to grab a rune, have a TP, and just be ready to go anytime you expect pressure. And I think expecting pressure is what you should have. When you see a Shadow Demon Invoker picked up this early on, I really liked the Shadow Demon pickup coming out from CNB. Takes it away, most importantly, from Mirana as a primary initiator to lead off the Sacred Arrow. Invoker, if he ends up going Exhort, will have Sunstrike to call down the pain early on. And, you know, depending on how they want to run this.
They need to get the Centaur right now.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking necessarily Centaur, but something along those lines. Something that gives you a bit of burst early on, that gives you a lot of initiation potential. And, yeah, Centaur surviving through the second ban phase. We'll see where the priority is going to go. No EarthSpirit currently up the most right now.
So the dreaded Invoker Shadow Demon Centaur combo that's been gaining a lot of popularity due to DK. I think may go to the side of CNB. No EarthSpirit, they actually first picked Centaur almost every single time in the Summit qualifiers, and Half Right Eggroll plays a pretty good Centaur. I don't really see why they didn't take it. Maybe they want to go for a more versatile offlaner, but I mean Centaur's pretty versatile already as offlaners go. Maybe they want like a Nyx for even more aggression.
10 seconds remaining.
Yes, Fanasoyon is indeed Goody. Goody is the one and only South American player on Ban Earth. I think that every team that plays against No EarthSpirit should ban Sand King first phase every single time. His Sand King just is much better than his other heroes, and he, like, no, I wouldn't say single-handedly decides the early game, but he just very effective at roaming and farming up a blink at the same time.
Yep.
And whenever your support player can do that, like get like let's say 2-0 and 2 and blink at 10 minutes, just ban out the hero.
Yeah, I love the Sand King pick, and I actually feel like he has a lot more room to be played than we currently see him. You do see some teams that run him more often than others. That's usually the case with a lot of those middle-tier pick bans, but the ability for Sand King in the going back since the buff to Sandstorm, he can actually jungle ridiculously fast, and like you said, it's kills are nice, but even if you're just able to get yourself to level 3, start out in lane and just try to break even there, and if you have any help whatsoever from a secondary support that's stacking camps for you, you can be ridiculously well farmed. Arc Boots and Blink Dagger by 10-12 minutes in without getting a single kill, without even being a part of a lot of tower fights or a lot of early tower pushes. So yeah, taking the Sand King out makes a ton of sense. Still waiting on the third pick to come out from CNB. They're taking a lot of time to think it over, and I'm kind of with you. The Centaur seems to make the most sense. What else do you think they might have in mind?
I think they need something that deals well against TA. Cold Snap, Quas Exort Invoker is like okay, but you really don't want like large single target instances damage like Keeper the Light. You want something like a Venom, something like a Darkseer that No EarthSpirit actually banned out. And I actually forgot that Relic was playing. And Brix is usually the one that takes it mid, but Relic is also their mid player. I think I've seen maybe like 6 games without Relic and 1 game with Relic, and Relic has been their mid player for the 1 game that I've seen him, but I'm not sure if they're going to roll swap. I assume Brix is going to be carry though in Relic in mid. I don't think I've ever seen Relic not play mid, whereas I have seen Brix play 1 and 2 position.
5 seconds.
Second half of this pick ban should go very quickly as we see both teams have burned through their bonus time. Only 40 seconds remaining now for No EarthSpirit and 9 seconds remaining for CNB. Keeper of the Light, I mean, he's a hero that everyone's kind of curious about much the same way as Tusk.
He's good.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about his upgrades coming out of the last patch?
It makes him a lot better. Some people actually don't like getting mech on him for some reason. They say that, I don't know, it's just his Varn is better used elsewhere, and he's just not the best mech carrier because you don't actually get much use out of the armor on it, right? So you get a lot of armor out from mech, and then you get the plus armor buff when you actually use the mech, and he's generally not in that position to do so because he's like standing far in the back, looking for good blinding lights and looking for good illuminates, and he's good against Chen but bad versus TA, so take that as you will. And also, I think he's very vulnerable to clockwork picks, and just anyone who can close the gap like that and just wrap around and destroy him.
Yeah, I've always been kind of on the fence about the mech pickup on Keeper too, and I mean, Keepers tend to get a fair amount of farm early on, especially if you're up against a push lineup, just because you're going to eat through creeps defending towers. It's going to be a Naga Siren. that's picked up in 4th position now for CNB. So, yeah, they're kind of all over the place. I mean, they're going to have some very nice ways to set up combos. They're going to have ensnare that they can lead off with. They're going to, of course, have disruption from the Shadow Demon. And we'll wait to see how the Invoker is going to end up playing here. But, yeah, the Naga Siren pick, that's not at all what I expected, really. No EarthSpirit, getting down to the nitty-gritty. They went with the Timber Saw here. And Timber Saw, a hero that...
Why would they pick Timber?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Timber, if I'm not mistaken, has had a pretty abysmal win rate lately, hasn't he? He's pretty...
Well, I think he's good in the right situations. He's really good for strength heroes, and he's really good when they don't have that much lockdown. For example, right now, CNB don't have any lockdown except for Cold Snap, but Cold Snap is actually pretty damn good against Timber Saw. And the reason why they picked him over, let's say, something like Clockwork is because he synergizes a little bit better with Templar Assassin. Like Clockwork plus TA, you're just not going to be able to kill people very easily unless you get a blink, and I don't recall if they get blink on TA. But he has good AoE, he has good burst, he's difficult to kill, and can their offlane, or can their safe lane actually kill him? I think it'll be a safe lane Naga, so Kato SD Naga. I don't know if they have enough damage. They don't have the deeps, man.
The deeps. The sustained deeps. Speaking of win rates, we can see that Invoker remaining a very popular pick with, I would say, most teams at this point.
10 seconds remaining.
He's actually plummeted a bit in terms of his win rate. I mean,
the game's changed a lot.
Yeah.
6.80.
Exactly. Lion.
Oh,
gonna be the last pickup. Love a Lion pick, man.
I do like Lion. He's good.
I feel like he's underutilized a lot. Like, whenever you talk about lockdown supports and support, the thing about a Lion is it seems to be feast or famine. It seems like he either does really well in the laning phase or he's just squishy and just blown to pieces early on.
I think the reason why he's played a little bit strangely is because people underestimate the importance of levels on him. He's just not as... He really needs levels. He, really needs level 6, and even someone like Shadow Shaman, who you think needs level 6, is still pretty useful prior to level 6. He still does very good damage with Ether Shock, very long, hard disable with Hex and Shackle early, but Lion, Hex, no damage. Impale, it's kind of clunky. It scales with... I think it's like 2.75 seconds level 1. First Spike's only 1 second. It's AoE, but it's only 1.
Taking a look at that final play. Yeah, the clock.
That's...
I mean, like when I look at CNB's, I mean, you have to imagine basically trying to hard farm the Naga Siren all game, but that's going to be difficult. They're going to be facing a lot of pressure this draft. Coming out from No EarthSpirit has got a lot of potential to not only push towers, but to just get aggressive in a lot of different ways. You can roam the chin early. You can do like you said if they want to end up parking the TA, which will be played by Bricks this time around. They could end up just trying to farm her and then try to hit a mid-game timing window. But CNB, they feel like I feel like they're just going to have a hard time standing up 5-on-5 every time No EarthSpirit.
They got the Naga, man.
It's going to help, but she is so farm dependent, and it looks like it's going to be run mid. So, it's going to be very important that she gets a great start. So, if they're running her mid, how do you think that matches up, TA versus Naga?
Not very good for Naga.
Yeah.
TA dominates most mids. I would say there's very few that she will get owned by. I say like Viper absolutely crushes TA, and I'm surprised that CNB
30
didn't go
seconds
for
remaining.
It's just good almost all game versus TA, but Naga not gonna have an easy time, especially if you have a Chen rotating early.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Is if there's anything that a Naga Siren is particularly susceptible to, it's early mid lane pressure. And they've got so many tools that will allow them to do that. I mean, it's feasible once the Timber hits 6. Every hero outside of the TA is liable to rotate from anywhere else and really make a great ganking partner to lead off with the TA. And TA, of course, is aggressive as she can play, diving towers and so on early on just because of the power refraction. Means Naga's going to need a lot of help. And when you look at CNB, Clockwork, I mean, once he hits level 6, obviously he's a game changer, or at least can be, in and of himself. But when you look at the rest of them, it's very reliant on getting your combos off. And usually, teams like that want to be the ones initiating the combo, not counter-initiating. And I feel like that's going to be the situation for CNB a lot, unless they take control of the pace of the game very early, unless they really get a lot of map control early on. They're going to constantly be the ones on the back foot trying to make up for the initiation of No Earth. And I think that's a huge advantage for No Earth.
You can't underestimate the power of Sunstrike, though. Sunstrike going to disrupt, Sunstrike with net, Sunstrike with Clockwork Cogs. It's all going to be fairly useful, but can they actually get kills, and would they be reacting to Ban Earth, and will Will they be counter-ganking efficiently and well and preventing deaths on Naga, or are they going to give up too much in the early game, and is Naga going to be a non-factor? That is the question. CNB's lineup is very Naga-centric.
Horn blows. We'll see how the laning phase is going to shape up as we're into our second game here from the main studio of the NA Coverage Hub, presented by Monster Energy. Taking a look at the lineups, beginning with CNB. We've got Ned playing on our Keeper of the Light. Going to have Tavo handling the Invoker. Going to be the Naga Siren mid, played by 4DR. Baga will be playing on our Shadow Demon, with Clockwork handled by Kingrid. The other side of the river, we got King RD. We got Bannerth running Goody. On the chin will be Bricks, as anticipated on the TA. In mid, it'll be Relic playing on the Mirana with Half Fried. I'm going to guess that's his name. We'll go with that.
Half Fried Egg Roll.
Yep, Half Fried Egg Roll. On the Timber Saw, and of course, Knave playing on our Lion.
So Relic is infamous as the Arteezy Slayer, beating him in a one-on-one mid-tournament matchup, the Puck vs. Quappin. Arteezy got a little bit angry. He said, "Grats, you can buy null talismans," and that is a quote that will probably go on for a pretty long time. And Relic already taking some flack from Ned with the GG Illuminates, 4 clarities on the keyboard line, and then some cog spam. So Relic definitely not in freeform heaven up in the mid lane. We already see a smoke coming out from Goody and Knave. Uh-oh.
Look, 40R. Oh, this is horrible for him. Runs right uphill into it. There's the Hex. Took his time. There's going to be a clap to follow. Do they have the right click to finish him off? And 1 or 2 more will do it. Vision. Here comes Bricks trying to help out, but he's going to be tardy to the party. And 40R dodges a bullet there. And not sure if that was slow reactions or what.
A slow reaction.
Yeah, that should have been fairly easy for us.
Knave is by far the weakest link on Banner. A lot of times he's just like, I mean, what are you doing, man? They definitely could have killed him. He has boots versus 2 on Lion. It should not be an easy kill, but it should have been a kill.
As it remains 0-0, 2 minutes in, no first blood on the board. Early CS, we can see the TA beating up on Naga 8-3, and that's usually indicative of a very, very big problem, because TA, like you said, she dominates most mid matchups. You can kind of get in her face a little bit and kind of CS some for the first few minutes, but as she gains level, she just becomes more and more painful, and it gets to a point where you really just can't sit in front of her, especially if she's microed well with the side blades and the spill damage that comes from that. It's just so hard to even keep up on your region, even with something like
they want to get a kill on bottom lane. They drop an Observer Ward. Very smart Observer Ward from CNB right here to block the spawn and gain vision of the rune.
He's not on top of
that's
things.
Cool. And it'll also shut down Goody's farm, since they are doing an aggro try of some sorts.
They just continue to stay in position. Doesn't look like they're too dedicated to diving the tower. Up at top, we can see that right now, tucked up under the tower is Relic. He's doing okay for himself. His CS is hanging. I mean, he's sitting at 7, so he's on par with the mid, but we can see King RD chasing him down and giving him what for, and he's actually got him below half health.
Relic's out of regen, so he needs to be able to ferry himself over some stuff. He has 750 gold, and looks like Naga Illusions will scout out Goody and Knave.
Stomp there, and right now Goody and Knave, as you said, they failing on that gank in mid, that's problematic in and of itself. But now they're spending a lot of time roaming around and getting very little to split between them. They've taken on a couple of jungle camps, but whenever you decide to play this kind of a roaming Lion to go with the Chen, and they're just moving a lot, you have to get verifiable, tangible gains out of it. Otherwise, it's just a lot of lost time. And we can see the Lion is level 2, and this comes back to what you were talking about. Lion is hungry for levels, and right now he's not getting them.
Mirana has carried herself over some Tangos on top, but Bricks is just absolutely dominating mid, hasting the bottle 2 in case they get a good opportunity on 4DR. 21 CS on him, only 9 on the Naga, so that's a little unfortunate for them, and they're just going to constantly pressure Naga. And CNB, they can't really do anything about it. Shadow Demon can't gank by himself, it doesn't do any damage. Coddle, it's very hard to set up without the Shadow Demon, so them doing the 2-1-2, yes, it's nice that they'll actually do decently in their lanes, but at the same time, they can't put any pressure.
Relic down very low in health. We saw him actually eat a little cog damage under his own tower. It got down to a little bit below 1/4 of his own health. There's an invisibility rune that's been picked up and activated by the TA, so it looks like Bricks using the haste and the invis. Great combination if they're able to punish them for it. However, the ward was down, so they spotted out Bricks.
They're going to go on 4DR. They're already set up in position behind tower. They have a Dark Troll Summoner. Are there any TPs? There is a TP on Shadow Demon.
Here we go. They're going to engage. Coming along the side there, the TPs, 2 of them coming in. Brick still with the haste ring, just going to continue to chase him down. Looks like the rest of the supports have broken off, and he's not going to pursue him up. So good reaction from CNB as once again the Naga Siren dodges the bullet. Now, she is getting destroyed in terms of overall CS, running at half of what the TA has at 5 minutes in. But at least she's not dying, and she is getting some level. She's about level 5 now, not too bad. And for No Earth, we can see the Timbersaw sitting right about there with them. The Invoker right in his face, too. And Invoker sitting at 25 CS for himself. He's in position. So all things considered, this is not going, I don't think, nearly as badly as perhaps it could have Sunstrike. A little bit of wishful thinking there. Oh, one more auto attack would have brought him down, but half-fried egg roll makes it back to safety.
Yeah, Baga on the bottom lane. Ooh, that's just on the edge of the D-ward on bottom. So, nice D-ward by Baga.
And another pause as Ned needs to take a breather. If you're just tuning in, this is our second game of mainstream coverage. Myself, AC, joined by Merlini here on the NA Hub.
Sorry, phone. We're talking about TI qualifiers, yo. Come on, Ned, get your shit together.
Sorry, door, man. Sorry, door.
Door's okay. Phone is like, I'll call you back.
Dude, if I'm in the TI qualifier, I am telling everyone I'm effectively dead for the next few days. Do not try to reach me. You will be met with very stern words. But, yeah, early on, we can see if there is some good news to be had here, it's that Bricks, as well as he's doing at 36 CS, he's pretty much the high point for what's going on with No Earth right now. The rest of the CS board is really favoring CNB, and a lot of this comes down to just how, you know, how much roaming's been done by No Earth with little to nothing to show for it. Level 3 on Lion, so, I mean, it's not the end of the world for him. Goody, we'll take a look at his level just in a moment and figure out where he sits. Yeah, he's about level 3. That's what one would anticipate. This is a big opportunity. And here we go. They're going to move on up. Down go the Cogs. Arrows there. Managed to catch King RD. There's the follow-up with the net and the Earth Spike. Oh, Nave ends up dead as well.
You walked into the Cogs, got pushed back. Come on, Nave. Come on.
And what should have been a very well-executed gank turns instead into a 1-1 break-even. If I'm not mistaken, No Earth actually managed to get first blood there.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
Good old Marana. So that'll help her gold out because she is just not having an easy time constantly tanking level 2 illuminates and out of regen yet again, even with the bottle in her inventory. And Templar Assassin, not quite sure what he's aiming for. Could be a Midas, could be Desert Rush, could be Blink Rush, could be drums, no clue.
Really wouldn't mind a blink on her, I don't think. Although they have enough initiation. I mean, it's like they don't necessarily need that, and she has the phase boots up already. So we'll have to wait and see. The Invoker looks like he's going to be grabbing a Midas. He's got up his glove of haste along with his own brown boots. I guess he could go Treads, but yeah, chances are we'll be seeing a Midas there.
If CNB's going to win this, they're going to win it with like relatively late, and they can easily take it late with a farm nod. They don't really have a good solution, so he should be getting for the lead.
Rest of the lanes beginning to settle out a little bit. We're beginning to see Chen spend a little bit more time actually jungling for the moment, and they are probably going to be trying to prioritize getting Lion some levels very, very soon. Goody has picked up the chainmail. Yeah, he'll be going Buckler on into mech, TP up, and yeah, and they've got some much-needed time alone there in that lane. He's still short of level 4, but making up a bit of ground.
Radiant's middle tower may need a hand.
So he's not in terrible shape. I mean, he's been up against that Invoker, and the Invoker notoriously hard to deal with in a one-on-one like that. Sitting at 20 CS, running about half of what the Invoker has been able to produce so far. So first 8 minutes in, you feel like this has gone okay for both teams, or do you think maybe one, just by virtue of their draft, maybe has an advantage with the way this has gone?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Slightly better than I expected them to in the early game. Goody usually gets a couple of kills in early game, and he only has one assist rather in 8 minutes. And half right egg roll, chasing down Baga. The Timbersaw pick, I don't know. I just don't really feel it. I think a mix would have done a lot more Cotto, but let's see.
TPs are coming in. There's going to be a disruption. Sunstrike on the mark, and they're going to turn this around or try to. Old snap. Yes, kept him on the ground. Half right egg roll in trouble. Marana pops the ulti. Doesn't matter. Too late. As the rocket flare was there to finish things out. That's a big turnaround for CNB. That looked like that was just going to be easy peasy. Instead, they flip the script and make it 2-1.
Timbersaw.
Radiant's top tower is getting walloped.
With the 1-3-1 build, not as much burst, I feel like, but
Radiant structures have been secured. Radiant's top tower needs bandages.
On the back of that banner, should be able to take out a T1 tower, unless we'll see some sneaky play from Ned. He's channeling the Illuminate.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
A couple of 10 creeps.
And nothing but. That's not going to be enough to force this back, so he was a little out of position. If he had had his heel set in time to start spamming that out earlier before they really swarmed it, maybe they could have kept it up, but tower is dropped by No Earth, and 10 minutes in are coming up on. How about we take a look at the gold graph, see how this laning phase has gone efficiency-wise. Yeah, we can see that's about what you would expect, I think, after the tower dying, but there was a little bit of an efficiency lead already for No Earth, which again, isn't a surprise. Like, whenever you just look at how dominant the TA's been there, and now you're beginning to see some catch up as well coming out from some of their other heroes that were looking to fall behind. So they've transitioned fairly well, I feel.
Yes, I think they also need to knock down. If they can knock down a mid T1 and bottom T1, then they'll have a lot of room to kill Naga Siren and interrupt her farm in the jungles. But if they don't and choose passively farm, I think that Naga will be much bigger than they would like her to be. Naga Siren does.
Yep, there we go. Sunstrike's there. Not even needed. As No Earth cleaning house. They're going to end up dropping 1 for 1. But
not a
yeah, you end up losing your Timber Saw in exchange for a Shadow Demon, which isn't exactly what you want to be trading away at this point. I mean, Timber is so reliant on getting up, on staying on par with items and levels. So any amount of time he's off the board in exchange for a 5 support, certainly going to be
still
worthwhile.
can't help but feel like Timber Saw was a miscraft from them.
Yeah.
It just cold snap. Just
Dire's middle tower is under
you're not
fire.
gonna get a BKB on him, not before any of the other items. And anyways, we do see a smoke from Goody. They are
Dire's middle tower is under
so
attack.
no finger death out before coming up for a few minutes, but now Bricks with the minus 1100 gold. Oh, Carlo's gonna TP in by himself. He's in a little bit of trouble. He might get swarmed.
This is ballsy. And I don't think they saw him yet. He's going to use the ulti. And he's going to try to fall back. Yep. Goody right there lying in wait. The ambush is on. Let's see.
Where's Nave? Oh my goodness, Nave. That was an easy kill. They're going to...
Yep, there's a defensive disruption. But there was personnel in range, and here comes the big swarm. It took a lot more effort than I think it really needed to. And as you said, looks like Nave is struggling. I'm not sure what you attribute that to, but he even kind of stutters that. Yeah,
twice.
Tier 1 in mid. Going to end up dropping, so CNB not going quietly, at least early on, to get the last hit to the Invoker. There's going to be a haste rune picked up by the Mirana. Tower's still at half health at bottom. It doesn't look like they have any real interest in trying to challenge this, so Tower's beginning to drop on all sides. However, that is going to be the second Tier 1 down for CNB, as No Earth only loses their Tier 1 mid. We are all knotted up at 3 kills apiece, and I think this is where No Earth is likely to start showing us that gank potential, the roaming potential, the skirmish potential in the mid game that we talked about during the draft as they take up station now in the Radiant side jungle. Looks like they could be challenged by CNB, though, as they are moving out into that vicinity. And here we go, Baga. Hexed, and the follow-up's going to be there. Timbersaw comes in through the chakra mid-chain and secures themselves another easy kill.
Get Sunstruck, though.
Let's see.
He's walking around a little bit. Sunstrike not invoked. Is he going to go for it? I see him just standing there. Nah,
he's going to the house. We're going to see Mirana actually picked off in mid. So they end up getting the Shadow Demon, but they give up just as much, if not more. And that Keeper of the Light's very low, too, by the way.
Ooh,
just
double Midas Gaming. I don't know if you want to take it late versus Naga Siren. I mean, I can see CNB definitely want to take it late with the Naga, but Banner with the double Midas, I mean, they're gearing for the long term as opposed to getting drums, getting an early Blink Dagger, an early Desolator to try and take out Roshan and seal the deal early. But then again, it is very, very difficult to push into an Invoker as well as a Keeper of the Light. So I can understand their positioning is just much safer to just try and out-farm them as opposed to go for a risky push mid and just completely blow the game wide open from a failed high ground. Early BKB rush from Templar, too.
Yep, mech done on the Clockwork. And now, I mean, if this is the kind of game that No Earth wants to play, I feel like that actually does favor CNB for all the reasons you just listed. I mean, a late game Nog is a late game Nog. She's always going to be a handful, but just being able to get up items like a mech, like a scepter on the Clockwork, completely changes the way the hero plays and makes him so impactful across the board. BKB, as you mentioned, going to be the pickup coming out for Brix's TA. And he's oh, hang on, there's our hook, as he's going to be able to refract away some of the damage. Help not on the way, and they should be able to get him here. No, there's the Hand of God and the Illuminate, finally. Enough to help clean that up. So that's about as valuable a pick as they're going to be able to find on the map right now. And I feel like the door is wide open for CNB. If they can continue to play steady and just make sure they don't overextend, don't allow Bannerth to get that momentum that you oftentimes can when you have a chin on the lineup, whenever you have so much initiation potential.
I agree. I think that they're getting a a lot out of their early game, and I think that getting an early kill on TA is absolutely huge. The longer they can delay Roshan, the more time they can buy for Nagasaren, the better the game is going to be for them. 3,300 gold on Nagasaren, so Relic out in just 1 minute, and that courier actually died 2 minutes ago. Not exactly sure where that happened. CNB has very good control over this area of the map, and they can still farm their jungle relatively safely. Don't think there are any ancient or any neutral stacks at all. The supports have been a little bit busy trying to protect their cores, but as it stands, Banner just trying to outfarm. I don't know. I think if they really wanted to do so, they could have picked a harder farmer than Relic. Relic actually has not used Moonlight Shadow yet. Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, he used it.
He used it once.
Yeah, he used it to try and save the Lion. The Lion was low, and he popped it a couple of times actually. Basically defensively. They haven't used it offensively. But speaking of offense, Ban-Earth willing to take the fight to Roche, as they've got a trio of centaurs to help tank the damage. Roche is down to about a quarter health, and it doesn't look like CNB is either aware or cares if they are aware, and this is going to be a free Aegis for them. And this is the kind of play I think we both expected coming in. You look at their lineup, it's just much better suited to try and hit that time window between 15 and 30 as opposed to 30 to 45.
That's pretty much half the reason why you pick TA is to do Roshan.
Right.
And on Dire, it's just so easy. You're doing yourself a great disservice if you aren't doing it. So I think Ban-Earth, they know it, they capitalize on it, and they're still taking advantage of the window where Naga is still a little bit weak, but she's not going to be weak for that much longer. 4,300 gold in the bank, and the split push is going to be real and online in just a couple minutes. And they'll keep her light recall too, so that makes BOTs even more effective.
6-4. CNB getting all the space they want.
Look at their positioning on bottom, just setting up a trap for anyone who wants to defend.
Yep. And they're going to continue to keep the pressure up. There's going to be the Timber rotating his way over, and he's going to be in. Yep. A lot of trouble. Cold snapped immediately. There's the hook, just to guarantee the kill even had. Keeper of the light with the artillery down in the river, ready to clean up shop. But I feel like all the momentum in the world right now is with CNB, and I think that's kind of surprising. You would think that their lineup would just feel a little bit weaker at this stage of the game, but truth of the matter is they're just outmaneuvering and honestly outthinking No Earth at this point. I feel like they're just making much better decisions. And in mid, looks like I thought everyone was just going to back off. No, mass TPs, and Relic going to be caught with the Demonic Purge. He slowed down, and he got caught out by didn't get caught out, I should say. The Moonlight Shadow prevented him from the big middle finger right in King RD's face. He's got the mech to heal away that damage, but Moonlight Shadow enough to secure their retreat. And this is kind of what I was talking about. That's a free tier 2, all things considered for CNB, and then they pull back in time to save their own tier 1. They've only lost 2 towers at this stage of the game.
Relic's playing a little strangely on the Mirana. It's a lot different than, let's say, Mason's Mirana. He contributes to a lot of kills and gets a lot of farm at the same time. And Mirana, he's not really doing either. He's not terribly farmed, and he hasn't been able to set up Moonlight Shadow ganks, and I think that's the strength of the hero. It's not really Arrow. I think Arrow is their second best skill. Moonlight Shadow is really where it's at, and granted, CNB has been pretty vigilant with the Sentry Wars around the map, but they still should be able to pick off someone here and there, and this is before Nagasaren Radiance. Now it is up and online, 18 minutes in. Pretty good timing, consider how often Chen and Lion were in the opponent's jungle.
Yeah, I think that's actually phenomenal timing. The fact that lane matchup was horrendous for her. And not only that, I mean, left one-on-one versus TA was going to be problematic, but like you said, they were constantly rotating Goody and the Lion into lane to try and harass her. They almost killed her a couple of times, and 18-minute Radiance is not bad at all.
King RD smoked up, reps around, get Goody.
Goody caught in the cogs. There's the arrow. That's going to help turn around a little bit. Sunstrike is there. There's a damage there. They come in and are able to clean it up as Goody manages to survive using Hand of God after the fact, has mech available in just a couple of seconds as well. So No Earth able to dodge a bullet there and get the kill on the Clockwork Aegis. Only about 3 minutes now left until it expires.
That was kind of cool. The 2 heroes, one blinked in, one leapt into the cog, so they would split the sun target. I'm not actually sure if they planned that, but that's what ended up happening. But still, Nagasaren, 0 deaths. That's not what you want to see if you're Ban-Earth.
No. And we can see the gold difference is actually sitting at dead 0. And I think that's a huge win for CNB to be coming up on 20 minutes, and you've lost no ground whatsoever in terms of gold, and you're fairly close to even in terms of experience, but that's going to begin to get out of hand very quickly. I mean, No Earth does have the Midas up, as you mentioned, so that's going to be a concern, but just given how quickly this Naga Siren is going to be able to farm with the Radiance, with Mirror Image, and of course just being able to keep the lanes constantly pushed, that's really a big detriment to a Chin in particular. Chin's not a hero who does particularly well when he's bottled up on his own side of the map. He wants to be moving across the river a lot, wants to have map control in his favor, and the Naga illusions alone make that much more difficult.
I think they should have taken out this mid tower much earlier. It's too late if it's going to go down after a Naga Radiance, but you got to take it down sometime if you want to win the game, and looks like that will be now. So yes, Naga Siren, Radiance carries are generally very good versus the TA2, and Mirana is probably your worst #1 position that people actually run very often in terms of actually being able to carry with do item scaling. So I'm very worried for Bannerth. We might be looking at a relatively longish game because Bannerths are going to try and out-farm with the Midases, but I think if this continues as it's going to go, CNB will win this, barring huge mistakes.
Boots of Travel, also done on the Naga Siren, so her farm is kicking in hard. She is up to level 11. Up at top, we're going to see the cogs drop, but looks like there wasn't going to be a whole lot of follow-up there to begin with. And right now, you can see No Earth just the way they're playing. They're playing grouped as 3 and 4 a lot. You're not seeing them break up a lot. You're not seeing them spread the map all that much. Bricks does have that BKB done and a Mithril Hammer done on what one would imagine will be a Desolator pickup up next, but 20 minutes in, CNB definitely looking like they're in the best position of anyone. Roche should be responding before too terribly long. But for now, the onus, I feel, it has to be on No Earth. They have to start getting more out of their Timber and out of their Chin in particular. They really have to start making TA feel useful.
I feel like they're in a really bad position because you generally, with the team with the Aegis, is supposed to be playing up. And they can't really take any good fights. Oh, actually, speaking of that,
Ned going to be netted down. There's the arrow that's off the mark. Relic's right there to help out, and yeah, they're going to have more than enough damage to bring him down. Problem is, up the top, we see the push is on. He's just going to be reclaimed as we speak, and they're going to be able to get a fair amount of damage done to the tower, or at least force the TPs. Yeah, they're just going to send one back. That'll be Bricks going to take that copious amount of farm. But all over the place, CNB, I feel like, is just real. Oh, here we go. Song on to Relic, has the ensnare at the ready, and prepping for it. And there we go. Cold Snap there as well, and actually didn't throw the ensnare out. Instead, Riptided, and behind that, enough reinforcements, enough to abate the pressure just a bit. So could have been a big opportunity. There's going to be an arrow that hits on King RD in mid, net to follow, and the damage. So Clock takes another tumble, and he actually did go for a straight-up blade mail after his mechanism, so Scepter feeling very far away from
the bottom tower is almost dead. It's at 500 HP at 1600, and we've been talking about the Naga Siren a lot, but Invoker has been park bottom the whole entire game. Midas, Necro 3, and 3,000 gold in 22 minutes, so the problems keep mounting for Bannerth. I don't even know if they have enough map control to take out a second Roshan.
Yeah, and just think about how completely non-influential the Chin pick has been. And so much of that, again, has to do with map control. I mean, he's not a hero who TP reacts to fights. I mean, he has to roam on the... being a part of early carving of the map and trying to get picks that way. And we saw them attempt it. It just didn't really go their way, and now he's beginning to feel like kind of like a walking range creep. I mean, it's just really problematic, especially as you said. The Naga Siren's push potential is there, and the Invoker... top of the net worth chart right now.
Experience lead still going to Banner. I think most of that is due to the double Midas gold lead actually going in favor of CNB for one of the first times this game. And yeah, I mean, what are they even going to do versus Invoker with Necrobook? TA can't really go up on that, maybe with a BKB, but still, they do have a lot of physical damage coming out too. Fort Spirits, Necrobooks, and potentially for like an Alacrity Invoker. He has Force Staff too if he wants to kite, and no one's going to have a really easy time. Maybe if Lion gets a Blink Dagger, he actually does have a Blink Dagger. They're going to smoke out the back of that. Maybe they can get a kill. Bricks trying to kill some stuff.
And here we go, King RD going to be spotted. Dave's right there with him.
That's the wrong hero to initiate on.
Yep, looks like he held back on it. There's the blink on the Timber showing itself. Chakram going to be thrown out, caught King RD. There's a net to follow, and blown to pieces. Just completely evaporates through all that damage. And Baga just going to go ahead and TP back to the house. Not wanting to take any chances. Look at bottom, though. Look at bottom being pushed by the Naga Siren. She was there with the DD. Now going to use the song. Doesn't have a TP. And not going to, yep, just going to go ahead and hang for the moment. Yeah, sending the illusions back up and being very, very safe. Oh, it was being recalled by the Keeper of the Light. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's just the power you see. Any open lane, BOT, sleep recall will almost always save you. It is only level 1 recall right now, being 5 seconds, but sleep long enough duration at 7. So now Banner getting split push. They don't actually have the T3 tower on bottom either, so that's really bad for them. You don't want your tower down before Naga gets a big item. I mean, she has Radiance and boost travel, but that's only the beginning. No Manta yet, no Heart, no Diffusal, no Butterfly, and yikes. I don't think Banner really has a good game plan versus what CNB has to offer.
I feel like No Earth was really schizophrenic in what they were trying to do. I mean, you pick the TA, and you mentioned that very often they like to run it as more of a farmer as opposed to an early ganker, and that's fine if you want to do that. But then you pick heroes like Chen and Lion and Mirana who do want to gank early on, and they tried and then failed at that. Then you go double Midas, so you put yourself in this position where the lineup, based on innate abilities and innate composition, should be excelling at one type of gameplay, while your item build and your failure to execute early on forces you into another type, whereas CNB seems to be pretty happy with everything that's gone their way. They just want to farm the damn Naga Siren, and they've done that, and they've certainly farmed the Invoker as well. And right now, I just don't know that No Earth's ever going to sniff the other side of the river. They're going to be tucked back defending towers and Raxes for the foreseeable future.
Coddle Ags, Coddle Gem. So say hello to Free Vision, say goodbye to your TA traps.
Yep.
And I mean, he just these ganks coming from LOA now, unless they get like a smoke into a blink initiate from Nave or somebody else. I don't think this gem's going anywhere anytime soon. Naga Siren, double rune up, regen on her right now. Now bottled an Invis rune, and Banner slowly but surely losing map control. They can't really venture forth past the river right now. And Relic, he has a Maelstrom, but that's a little consolation for the Naga Siren picking up a Manta already.
Yep.
242 CS, 26 minutes in. That is scary.
Yeah, that is legit. And a lot of it, again, I think comes down to TA. Like, she hasn't felt that influential this game. I mean, we've seen some battles, and we've seen some kills tallied and all that, but for the most part, with a Chin and a TA on your team, especially with a Mirana to go with it, you'd expect to see these, you'd expect No Earth to, if they're going to be in a good position, to at least be leading in kills and have some kind of a lead early on, whereas CNB, again, we're still just 26 minutes in, and this game is a game that CNB will be happy to take a win now, but they'll certainly have no problem doubling that timer and taking it to 50, 60 minutes if they want, because they're just going to have the advantage there. So the Ags up on the Keeper of the Light, that's a lot of fun to see. And like you said, with the gem, makes pretty out top. Got an engagement on the Bricks. Bricks has to BKB. Is it going to matter? Yeah, they managed to get him. So he's down for 60 seconds. And that's at least 2 BKB charges I've seen him use just to teleport away now.
Yeah, the TA pick is caught and fallen flat because they can't really do anything. Their lanes are always pushed out. They have no good heroes to scout out ganks. They have a Kara on the opposite team so that Banner can't really push. They have Shadow Demon just in case someone gets out of pickle and gets hexed up, and the Mel debuff. So, I mean, CNB, their draft just counters Banner in almost all aspects.
In mid, Tavo getting a little brave, eats the finger, and will end up dying as Relic was there to help counter initiate. Goody makes it away with very little health. There's going to be a rocket flare that comes up just a bit short. Don't know that it would have killed him either way, but okay, so you get a kill. You end up trading TA for Invoker, but you also lose towers, and you also lose more map control. You don't have a single outer tier tower remaining now if you're No Earth, and you've got Naked Rax in bottom with Invoker and the Naga Siren, both in a position to be anywhere they want. And by the way, Keeper of the Light who can recall people at will. So, yeah, this is beginning, and I think that's going to be a trend that we're going to see for the foreseeable future as well, with the gold gang continuing to go heavily in CNB's favor. Yep, Relic at bottom, going one-on-one with King RD. He's got some help from Chin, uses the Moonlight Shadow as well. And with a little bit of help from Chen, Test of Faith brings him down. Ned came in to try to help, and he got netted behind it. There's a defensive disruption as the Illuminate goes off. Naga Siren there with the song. It looks like she just wants to disengage now. A little indecisive. The pipe completed on No Earth certainly helps them deal with the Naga Siren and her Radiance a little bit more. And wow, Nave chased him all the way down and was basically by himself, but not going to be punished for it. There's an arrow shot, Chin, sending the Mirana back to the Heezy. And let's see if they want to maybe try to take a run at Rosh. It's 13 seconds. Yep, there's the Desolator from Brix coming into play. This Rosh should drop very quickly.
To be honest, Rosh is fairly irrelevant at this point, though. I don't think 2 lives on Brix will really matter that much.
Could he? Trapped by his own illusions. Oh, did he make it? Yes, he did. Judgment. Back at the base. The Shadow Poison that he was stacking brought him down.
They know that Rosh is being taken down. It has about 100 HP.
Oh, there it goes. Now let's see if they want to come in and try to punish them for it. Illuminates there, and Tavo leading the way. Arrow off the mark, missed all the targets. Brix being pursued up to the high ground, uses a refraction. That'll buy him a little bit of time, but not a ton. Now it's down, and yep, nothing but Radiance burn.
He's dead twice.
Enough to bring him down. Yeah. Ice wall down preemptively. Brix once again has to BKB to run away, and then it's not going to matter. And Snare goes through Magic Immunity, locks him down, brings him down. Disruptions there as well. Now Nave feeds on top of it, and yeah, here comes. That's a triple kill. That's a hat trick for Tavo.
Yeah.
As that was definitely a case of save your buddy, no man left behind syndrome. He was dead, and they just fed a few more just for the S's and G's of it.
If they can't secure Roshan safely, there goes an important aspect of their lineup. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like the most important thing about the lineup, but it's definitely one that they rely on having as the Aegis and Roshan advantage, and now the Rax are already being taken down, so this will probably be 2 exposed Rax. Brix does have a buyback available, and if he doesn't, I think they're going to take catastrophic base damage.
Yep. Here we go. Arrow actually hit a creep. Thought they might want to try to engage, maybe mass buyback off of it if it did connect. He's continuing to hang. They are almost certainly going to lose at least 1 set of racks here, and there's a little bit of damage being enough to force them out. Now Baga could be in trouble. Force Staff gets him to safety. There's going to be another song.
Oh man,
not a lot of mana.
13 HP.
Not a lot of mana. There's the hook though, and the cogs go down. Mech used, doesn't matter. Goody brought down. The Timber Saw to help try to clean things up. Buyback from Relic as well. Tavo next on the list, going to be leapt upon, and the right click should be enough to clean him up. No, actually almost able to make it away, but not quite, as they're able to pursue him out. So that's actually not all that bad for No Earth. They keep both racks up. Cost them a couple buybacks, but they do manage to bring 4 down in the process. So the game extends at the very least. But this is a big problem with what we're talking about. Every fight is taking place close to their tier 3s into their racks, which means even if you win a big fight like this, you just really don't have time to get down map and make something happen so far as taking towers of your own.
They can't really push any lanes, looks like. Baga accidentally says the Roshan timer in chat.
Yep. You'll have that from time to time.
Mistake. But as of right now, Banner is just living on borrowed time as it stands. They may win a fight here and there, but still the overall problem of TA and Mirana not being able to outcarry a Naga Siren is still going to be there. Combine that with Kano. Oh, Kano. Speaking of Kano, just get arrowed. She does have a Ghost Scepter. They can't do anything versus Ghost Scepter really besides Finger. And Invoker, it looks like he's going for an AC, maybe a Shiva's. Doesn't want a plate mail versus that Desolator TA, and I mean, the Necro 3, the pushing potential is just too strong. He's already pushing the racks again, getting a lot of damage on this range racks. Oh, he actually canceled the mana drain. It didn't kill the illusion before it finished draining. That might actually cost him the racks.
Yeah, and here comes Timber to try to help things out. A lot of damage being done. Those are some tanky loose. Sunstrike on the mark. Long range artillery. Brings him down. This has been a tough game for Nave, man. It has seemed like he has just been out of sorts, to put it mildly. Arrow, yep, actually does connect on Ned. That's a long-range arrow. They're going to have time to jump him. And that right click beginning to kick in. He's going to make a run for it, but using the Ghost Scepter to himself some time. And it looks like Relic, not wanting to engage into the dark, walks away without a kill, but with some damage done. So for the moment, even though they're a little banged up, all the Raxes are still standing. 2 sets are naked, and it looks like CNB ready to go back on the offensive.
They can just siege it with illusions, with Forward Spirits, and this range rack is certainly going to go down. As far as the other lanes, Naga Siren looks like she's trying to pressure them out. Looks like a Shiva's on Invoker rather than the AC. Ton of armor.
Yep.
15 armor is very, very good. Pretty much negates the Desolator in the meld.
Arrow shot, arrow miss, as CNB with the Naga Siren out front. She's level 16 too, by the way, which means the cooldown on Song is ridiculously low. And this just feels borderline hopeless. Like, again, this is the position they're going to be in. And unless they just, like, mass bots or something like that, they're never going to be able to get downfield in time to make something happen, even if they do win a fight. And really, they've only got about one more fight left in them. If they lose the next engagement, they're going to lose so much for it. It's basically going to be GG. I mean, it's basically a hope and a prayer at the moment. But they're hanging as long as they can. I mean, what's the best case scenario you think for Ban Earth right now, or for No Earth?
CNB throws.
Well, how? That's the thing.
They
like,
push and overextend. They like waste song with a siren, and then they don't lock down TA with a net during BKB, or they let Mirana go to town. She is actually very farmed right now. She's number 3 in terms of CS, in terms of net worth. She is number 4, but she is range hero. That's one full range, not fake range like Templar Assassin. So that is one advantage that she has over the Naga Siren and the TA, and she has almost straight damage post Midas, or even Midas gives her damage, but Drums, Chrysalis, Mjolnir, Phase Boot, so not utility in the Manta style, but she does hit very, very hard and very, very quickly.
As we can see, just to drive the point home, the warding very aggressive even out of CNB, as they have wards placed everywhere and really just want No Earth to feel completely insecure everywhere on the map. And so far that's been the truth, and we can see, I mean, just look at their spread. It's all 5 spread out in one big marching death line as they tried to funnel No Earth into a bad position and maybe just get an individual catch. But I think CNB is playing this just right. They're playing it very patiently.
Yep, they just need to wait for Ban Earth to overextend, or even if they clump up as 5, they can just sleep and push another lane with illusions, and they just need to limit them to this area right here. Oh, he just drew it, actually. I don't know why he just drew it, but he pretty much just drew the exact line I was going to draw. That's pretty much where they're confined to, and CNB, they have Roshan control. They just need to keep doing this, not take pick off, just do constant chip damage to the range racks, to the T3 towers, and then secure Roshan, and then perhaps make a death push with Naga Saturn Butterfly. I think that's the ideal timing for them, because I doubt that Mirana will complete an MKB by then.
And at bottom, King RD trying to get into the mix. There's going to be a Sunstrike on the way. That'll secure a kill. King RD going to end up being the return kill, but that's 90 seconds down from Mirana. Now,
great trade for them.
They had already lost their top range racks, by the way. It fell to nothing but Naga Illusions. Now just one rack still standing. They used their glyph, and this is problematic. As you said, she is accounting for so much of No Earth's battle potential. Now they're just going to rush this. Brick's in trouble, has Refraction pop. Now he has to use the BKB, but it's not going to last very long. He had to use so many charges early in the game that really, I mean, it's on cooldown now, but what can they do? This is a one fight, and they're continuing to play very, very patiently, using just illusion and making sure they don't find themselves in a bad position.
I don't think they have to play this patiently. They did buy back on King RD, and TA's BKB is down, so if they really get in a pickle, they can sleep with Naga Siren, but no one's really going to do that much damage because Naga Siren does have a Heart of Tarrasque right now. Mirana does have buyback down. She's still down for 40 seconds, and I'm surprised that they're not making a move for T3. I think they can at least get that down to a 3rd HP, maybe even kill it if they're lucky. Probably not kill it, but that's still good damage that you don't have to do later. But range racks will fall on the bottom lane as well, so now only 3 racks left for Ban Earth.
Yeah, I think that's generally the game plan. It's just saying, you know, we could end the game right now, or we could play patient for another 5 minutes and guarantee that we give them no chance to capitalize on mistakes. And wow, Brick's out by himself, caught with the Demonic Purge. They have the damage. Shivas is there as well. Chin's there to help get him home, and will be able to send him back to the well in time. Sunstrike dodged by Bricks, as he anticipated it would be following very shortly after his landing and back in the base.
Check the Roshan timer. It's about to be 8 minutes. Let's see what it is. Wow, instantaneous. Are you kidding? That was, I think, literally 8 minutes on the dot.
Yep, they're going to be checking it soon.
Wow, that's unlucky for Ban Earth.
I don't think it would have mattered.
Yeah, I don't think it would have mattered either, but I think a better Roshan respawn is better than late.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cheese too. Yeah. So that's unlucky.
Yeah, they know he's up. And
there's smoke to it too. Bricks wants to try and sneak it in, which is a smart play. And they can delay the game. I don't know if it'll actually help them win, but it will delay the game if they do get it.
Engagement in the pit. We got 2 caught out. There we go. King RD was hanging out down there and got spotted by Bricks and Nate. However, that means the jig's up.
They get the mid rack or the bottom racks. Yeah. The mid T3, they're getting just sieged by Naga Illusions, and on top of that, there's Manta Illusions on the top lane. So, well, good luck trying to do Roshan with constant Naga pressure.
Yep, and nice pick, I guess. He's down for 50, but yeah, this is going to be a free Roshan now. And Talbot can do it by himself, just with the book creeps.
They would much rather not have Clockwork there, because then they would have just done Roshan in like 15 seconds.
Yep. And Roche down to about half health, but looks like No Earth running out of time here in our second game from the main studio here at the North American Coverage Hub. Make sure you check us out, twitch.tv/TI4NA and or /team/TI4NA. As this one looks like it's coming down to the close.
Don't forget the cheese, guys. Don't forget, don't just leave what?
Gotta get some om-noms, man. Just leave it. Here you go.
Just sell it if you want. 500 gold.
Yeah, they sold the Midas.
I think it's 500 gold. Is it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think I've ever sold cheese.
I think it's 500. It's only for the rich. If you sell the cheese, you're probably in a pretty good position. Needs 2,000 HP.
Exactly. And CNB looking like
500 HP. Just kidding.
looks like they're ready to put a cherry on it as they're grouped as 5 and now pushing in the pressure. Basically feeling insurmountable. Oh, big combo onto Relic.
Whoa, Tavo.
Going ham, and now 40R eating some damage, but even he's just feeling so tanky now with the hard done. And armor, 22 armor.
That was a sick combo coming out from Roger, by the way.
Disruption as they look to run uphill. There's going to be Song. And Moonlight Shadows there. Yeah, just buying time. Like, they don't have to fight if they don't want to. Bottom racks will drop in the meantime, and yeah, now they fall back to regroup. Mid, all that's left standing now. So far as buildings are going to go ahead and try to engage. Goody in a lot of trouble, burning very quickly, uses Hand of God. And now 40R actually eating a lot of damage as well. We'll have the Aegis popped off of him. Ready to re-engage now as Tavo decides to go chasing Deep Fried Egg Roll in some trouble. Going to use the Timber Chain to try to get to safety. Was ensnared though. Blinding Light there to help things out. Manta used, and Goody going to end up dying to a combination of damage. Looked like it was Tavo secured that kill. This is going to be the tower diving segment, or the well diving segment of our program, as they all have to scurry back. And GG gonna be called. CNB it takes the win, and I can't remember who it was, but someone anticipated No Earth would be at the very bottom of the standings. They want to make that anything but a reality. They're gonna have to turn it around, looking ahead to the rest of their matches here today, as they now sit at 0-2.
Very decent draft coming out from CNB. I think if Ban Earth had better late game, they could have won it, but CNB with the Naga Siren is their trump card to almost everything that Ban Earth had to throw at them. Trump card versus BKB, trump card at late game even versus a TA and a Marana, trump card for Roshan if they really wanted to take it. So it
I think so much of it just has to do with No Earth. It was a schizophrenic draft in the way that they decided to play it. I mean, a lot of things fell apart early whenever Chen and Lion were unable to get a whole lot accomplished as they roamed. That just freed up a lot of space. Naga got bullied around in mid, but most importantly, she survived. And yeah, then the decision to go Midases, like, that is just so weird to me. Like, the way they played that TA was like a hard carry, but we saw down the stretch, she's just not going to stand up to that.
We can't push into a portal, though, so lose-lose situation.
Yep. Well, another game behind us, man. It was a good one, and I like, these are teams that I know nothing about, so actually getting a chance to see them for the first time is exciting.